I keep starting these and then getting interrupted by people who I'm hoping are the caseworker or I don't remember what other administrator I've been demanding to see today. Is long story short, I'm not dying, but my body thinks I am. I have to look up the name of the specific diagnosis, but what's happening to my body right now is that sometimes when a person experiences a trauma, the body responds by halting use, like the of the lower body, and the lower body goes into paralysis or lack of sensation, and that, of course, forces whomever has had the trauma to stop and confront. So that's what's going on with me. The and I'm going to be pretty real about PTSD and sexual assault in this video. So if those are things that would be upsetting for you to, you know, hear somebody talk about, peace out. So with severe trauma, there's a thing the body mind does where subconsciously the mind stops the functional use of a person's lower body. The infectious disease specialist with whom I recently spoke today, you guys would be amazed at how creative I've been at finding, people to talk to help give me language so that I can advocate for myself here, because I guess people in hospitals don't give it straight. So this guy, I found an infectious disease specialist who's an internist, and I spoke with him, and he told me about a case that he had where a kid was mowing the lawn, and his father went to cross the street. And as this kid's father was crossing the street, the father was hit by a car, and his upper body was completely severed from his lower body. Kid witnessed it, and he said the kid collapsed and his lower body stopped working. And I was like, well, my lower body hasn't worked. I actually have collapsed a couple of times. I mean, it has been. So as soon as I learned that I don't have central nervous system, damage or MS or anything, and they said this is a manifestation of PTSD here in the hospital, I took a look at a calendar. I mean, because I knew that my mom's, the anniversary of her death is coming up. Her birthday was last week. My father's birthday is on Monday, and my mother's death day is on Thursday. So, and it's the first anniversary of everything, of my mom, which means that's what it is. So, with the legs, okay, great, got to get on my feet, whatnot, and then my pelvis has had these symptoms where it feels like my pelvis is liquid, and I don't have sensation in my anus or my vagina, and when I haven't had a bowel movement in days, because I haven't eaten in days, really. So I thought I was going to have a bowel movement this morning, and you know how you do that you bear down a little bit? I had a ghost sensation of not only having a bowel movement, but of having that bowel movement kind of like stuck between the inside of me and the outside of me. so I guess if you've ever had a BM when you're like super dehydrated, that can happen sometimes, and you got to kind of like wipe it and then do it again. Yeah, there, I actually didn't have a bowel movement at all. So, and I can't feel my vagina or my vulva. So yesterday I was speaking with the social worker here, and she shared with me that these symptoms that I'm having with the pelvis, she has seen present in people who have had sexual trauma. And I have had multiple sexual traumas, sadly, rape, sadly. So, So, whatever it is that I've been doing, and all the tools that I have, and the mindfulness that I've been doing, and eating well, and good sleep hygiene, and being, resting on the weekend, and spending time in the sun, and all of that, clearly hasn't been enough. And my psyche has decided that it's time for me to stop and address. So, and every moment that I'm in this hospital, infection and Katie get closer and closer and closer as a possibility. It's just true in hospitals, period. It's what happens. Starting to feel a little here. Pneumonia is a concern, so I need to get the fuck out of here today. Because my primary care physician doesn't seem to think that having direct conversations with me about my own health care is necessary, fuck and him. And the nurses here have all kinds of constraints about what they can and can't talk to me about, and how they have to do their work. I've been calling all of the, like, any assistant, and all of these services that I have through my health insurance. I have Rolls Royce level health insurance. So I was given language by this doctor this morning to tell them that I am an unsafe discharge. I mean, I still can't stand, right? So I'm an unsafe discharge, and I need to be discharged to an acute rehab facility. Starting yesterday, I've been making noise about getting transferred to UCLA, and people keep telling me that's going to take a long time. And so when I spoke with the infectious disease guy this morning, he told me about a group of hospitals here in Los Angeles that are acute rehab hospitals. And when I looked them up online, they have like 25 locations, and I'm pretty sure they'd love to take my money. So I asked the nurse this morning to add that name to the list for my doctor to get me admitted. And I'll start calling over there. I mean, I know it's the weekend, but hospitals have administrators all the time because they're operating all the time. And I'll see which location has a bed and which location wants my money. These people here, I think, are starting to get really motivated to get me out because I'm documenting everything. And in particular, I'm documenting how the hygiene practices, because, like, there was urine that had dripped out of that little bedside table thing onto the floor, that they let sit there for, I don't know, probably 18 hours before I asked to have the floor cleaned. Somebody just came in and cleaned my room. It is Saturday. My room was not clean when I got here on Wednesday. So that means my room hasn't been cleaned probably in 5 days, which is unacceptable. And thank God I'm not really sick. I mean, I'm non-functioning, and I'm having an acute mental health moment. but I'm not having an actual like disease moment. I can imagine if that was the case. So, civilian PTSD, complex PTSD, sexual trauma, incest. I mean, you name it, I got it. Oh, and incest, if not in the Zitterbart household. So all of you who know the Zitterbarts, that is, it was extended family, not immediate. So the safe household that you experienced coming over when we were growing up was genuinely a safe household. I am clearly lucid and becoming increasingly, let's just say I'm letting everybody know that I'm feeling really vulnerable. I've been in pain. You know, my body betrays me, and I'm apologizing ahead of time about being potential, you know, if I'm rude to people. And then I'm just allowing myself the forgiveness of if I can't stay ahead of my emotions because I'm here by myself, my body betrays me. And sadly, this PTSD response isn't just because of the grief of my parents, it's also going to force me to confront all of these rapes that I've had in my life, which I genuinely thought I was complete with. And then the other thing I've been really, really worried about is I work at a startup, and we have a skeleton complement. When I had the dissociation in January, my cognitive functioning has been clearly impaired. The most obvious impact has been short-term memory loss, but I've had very weird comprehension and aphasic challenges as well. Comprehension challenges that I've had are that. So this is like pure PTSD stuff I'm talking about. If I feel upset, and upset right now for me it has been showing up as a sensitivity to the volume at which people speak, which I've never been sensitive to. So nobody has been yelling at me, saying like, "Oh, Katie, you suck," but people yell when they get pissed off, and I haven't realized that that's been triggering. So that's been so I've had the short-term memory stuff, and then the aphasic stuff has been with math, and with math in this way that's like super weird. So I could I mean, diffie-qs and algorithm equations have always been challenging for me, and I could probably sit down and remember what they are. I haven't had to do a diffie-q since I was in college, and conceptually tell you at a high level, what a differential equation is. But I'm currently unable to go into an Excel sheet and do a simple summation of, A cell plus B cell equals result. And that is terrifying. And yeah, so that's been happening. So I was, they put me under a, like some kind of like psych watch because of the PTSD. So I was observed, and through the psychological watch observation, everybody has concluded that Katie is indeed not a threat to herself, and I'm like fighting for my wellness and my get me the fuck out of here ness, and get me into a context where I can actually be served and helped. I am livid at this hospital, livid at my primary care doctor, livid, that nobody disclosed to me that this hospital doesn't have the capability to provide the services that I need, which could have been disclosed to me on Thursday, which means yesterday I could have been discharged. Yesterday was a business day. More people are around on a business day. So I am now of the opinion that I am, oh, Renee, I'm mellow because I'm exhausted. You know, had I been able to walk, I would have been discharged. The responsible thing, as soon as I received the diagnosis of the whatever this is, which is when the lower body stops working because of the PTSD, people should have started taking divisive action to get me out of this place and into a place that can help me, and they didn't. I've already had a conversation with the hospital's director of risk and compliance because I called the yeah, my lucidity is impressive, but as you know, I'm brilliant and resilient. And now I have language. I'm definitely reporting the hospital from a cleanliness perspective. I'm not sure if I'm going to report the anesthesiologist for his bullying, mostly because he's clearly in his 60s, and he was never ever taught that women are people, period, because he went to medical school at a time when women, you know, weren't people. And I am every single man that calls me sweetheart or dear, I'm just very calmly asking them if they call people who have penises those names, and I'm saying it in those terms. Do you say that to people who have penises? The nurses are very frustrated with me because I keep advocating for myself. And I actually think what they're frustrated about is that they can't tell me the truth of what they know. I'm starting to cough. I've been in a hospital for 4 days and I'm starting to cough. So now I need somebody to come listen to my lungs. If I get pneumonia, you guys, my immune system is strong enough to handle it, but fuck and that. So yeah, it's time to get me out of here. Okay, to the sexual trauma piece of this. I guess I'm not really sure or ready. I don't know. Sexual. I mean, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I don't know. What am I gonna do? Yeah. So finally, my room has been cleaned. It's been 5 days. I'm alone in my room, which means I'm not being exposed to whomever would be in this bed next to me. I've asked officially to only be seen by women, and if a man comes in here, that they're accompanied by a woman. And if I'm jailbreaked, my health insurance won't cover anything that's happened. And the MRI I've had alone was probably $100,000. So maybe not 100,000, but very expensive. I was in the MRI sedated for 2 hours, so jailbreak will not occur. I could just be discharged and then try to walk into another hospital. But then I'm looking at going in through another emergency room, which is an inappropriate use of an emergency room. And And so, and Dawn, who's watching this right now, if I was wobbly wobbly with my walking and just kind of like needed a babysitter, I would be fine with asking that of Dawn and Justin, but I am unable to stand to even really get onto a bedside commode, and I don't think that that goes beyond housemate level stuff, you know. I don't know if I've said it in another video. I'm going to say it here. There are teaching hospitals and there are non-teaching hospitals. Teaching hospitals are the hospitals that have all of the specialists in and around the hospital all the time. Non-teaching hospitals don't have anything. And I have only ever, MRI results 100% perfect. 100% perfect, head to tail. Myelin sheaths on my central nervous system, 100% perfect. So no multiple sclerosis. I still want to be tested for Lyme, and this still might be something. Oh, but I did get, not for a month, but I got an appointment with an internal medicine specialist who has a medical degree from Harvard and practices integrated medicine. And he is going to become my primary care physician. And he does all the things. So that's good. My hands have gone numb. You know what, Renee, I'm lucid because I now know this is psychosomatic. So the worst thing I can do for myself is play into or cultivate my fear. The best thing I can do for myself is play into and cultivate my lucidity. I have not had a therapeutic colonic. I did just ask them for some prune juice, so that's there. And then, I've been, Miss Renee, I'm going to be doing illegal physical therapy with my friend Domini, starting on Monday. Illegal in the sense that she's not a PT, but we'll just be doing video conferencing. And Domini is a globally one of the world's best. She's just one of the world's best. Period. But she does gyrotonics, which is a gyroscope version. As I understand it, it's like gyroscopic Pilates. So, and she will help me regain all the full use, mobility, and everything of my low body. I am certain she's worked with people who are recovering from sexual trauma, physical trauma, all of the traumas. But it's not my place to share her practice. So, the colonics, I have to wait until I'm out of the hospital to do them. I got to get out of this place. I've got to get out of this place today and into a different context where I'm much less likely to catch an infection. That is the goal. Oh, yes. And I'll have Dawn bring me, I should probably have a gallon of kefir today and be drinking at least half a gallon of kefir a day while I'm in these places. In some ways, I've also manifested one of my fears, which is having a health crisis and having to go through it alone. But I've manifested a health crisis that I'm going through alone, awake and alert and lucid. So that's the way to do it. And that's that. Check out how beautiful of a day it is here in Los Angeles. I don't know if I can get it's not going to, it's just a gorgeous sunny day. they keep trying to put the TV on, and all I've been doing is watching the sky and meditating. And then I put the TV on and I turn it off and I watch the sky and I meditate. And people are surprised at my how can I be sitting in a room alone by myself for this long without distraction? And that's because of my practice. So, oh, I did ask in desperation. I asked the charge nurse during the shift change this morning. I was like, do I invoke the PTSD and go psych? And she was like, they've just been like, because the, yeah, so don't do that. So that's fine. And that's that. Hopefully, I'll talk to somebody today who will concur with me that I need to get out of here and into an acute rehab. And hopefully, that'll happen today. The longer I lie in this bed without an hour or two of PT a day, the longer it's going to, because I honestly, like, I know what kinds of exercises to do as far as articulating and extension and rotation and pulling the leg in and out and, strengthening contracting my quads and stuff. What I don't know how to do is integrate into my pelvis. And if the pelvis is gone because of psychological response to this, the PTSD and sexual trauma, I'm going to need a physical therapist who has experience with people who are trauma survivors. So back to the only having women in the room. Consciously, every single man here, except for the one they call me hun and babe, and I have to ask them if they talk to men that way. They've all been so wonderful, but I think if this is trauma related, then I need to be thinking about and protecting and encouraging the healing of my subconscious mind and all of the parts of my awareness that are asleep due to events that occurred that they're asleep from. Oh, and then the other thing is, my family has, my brother and his wife are insurance experts. My cousin is a nurse, and her husband is a main partner in an oncology practice and basically owns a hospital. So, yeah, and there you have it, people. Wishing I had my psychiatric service dog already, because then I'd have a poopy duper on the bed with me or just in the room with me, but that's okay. I may ask to see the chaplain, rabbi, or somebody for two reasons. One, they'll come up to talk to me, and two, they're usually notary publics, and I need to make sure that my advance directive is, really, really up to date, which it is not. So there you have it. But in order to do that, I need to print it out. And, oh, we can't print anything out for you because we don't have printers, which is total bullshit. Of course they have printers. It's a goddamn hospital. It's a business. Oh, and then, like, other funny things. If I leave my room, I have my stuff taken and put into a safe, and because the business that I'm in is security and identity protection and anti-money laundering and fraud protection and everything, if I get separated from my computer has to be wiped. So I've been having them add onto the inventory that, should something occur, call my emergency contact because we're going to have to call our sysadmin and have him remote wipe my computer. And most people don't make requests like that. Oh, Lord. And I'm not even with my work computer. I'm with my personal computer, but, of course it has work stuff on it. So, adventures in bodies, adventures in self-advocacy, and something's coming out of this. I don't know what kind of content, but something's coming out of it. All right. Well, if you have been patient enough to listen to all of my word vomiting in this moment, I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great afternoon. And hello, Miss Natasha. I love you. I miss you so much. I miss the East Coast right now, looking at you and Renee. Okay. Bye-bye.